Alright, hello everyone, and today we're going to be making a Compaq LTE 5000 CMOS battery. This one was actually sent by a customer and it's actually not leaking, or is it? Oh yeah, she's leaking. Anywho, so we're going to rebuild one of these today. That's the end game here. But how do we go about that? First of all, we never mind the mess that we got going on here. I got a lot going on, but since we have a customer build, a perfect opportunity to rebuild the video, because I got a very scathing review, if you will, from a YouTuber stating that my first video was the worst one ever, and it took too long. And well, I kind of agree with him. It wasn't a very good one. So hopefully this one is a little less bad. So let's get right into it. You do need a battery, and I do get these from a company in Canada, and this battery is not ready out of the box. I'll take it out and I'll show you why. There's actually two reasons. Well, one being worse than the other here, but anyway. First thing is first, the connectors are notably different. This one has 3. The other one has 2, so there's a couple ways to go about this. You can potentially add the end to this, or you can take this end and transfer it to the new battery. But you also notice there's a little bit of a lump on this one. There's a thermostat underneath here, and it's a 70 degrees Celsius thermostat. Now, it's not technically required to run the laptop, but should the thing really overheat bad, that charging circuit will safely shut off. Now, I do sell these as well, already assembled, with brand new thermostats, although the thermostats generally do not go bad, and ends in the whole 9 yards. So if you're going to make a new one from scratch, if you don't have the thermostat, there's a company in Texas that sells them. I can put that link in the description. If your end is beyond repair, you need a JST Micro 1.25, and you need one with 3 leads. But you'll have to move some of these around if you really want to go according to the book. Because if we look here, the red lead is all the way to the right, and black's on the left. In this case, red is on the left, and black is in the middle. I know you can't see that. Alright. So I'm going to try and reuse as much of this as I can. So let's cut her up and let's get into it. The tools we'll be using today, we'll be using an ordinary soldering iron, a spot welder, and heat shrink. Gotta get into this, and I know I'm off camera at this point, but we're just digging into this heat shrink. I'm really trying to show this on camera. There we go. I think we scored it enough. Yeah, we got it. We're in it. We're started. A little surprised that this one is also yellow. But yes, there is your thermostat. If you look it up according to this Isuzu part number, you will not find it. There was an aftermarket battery that I tore apart. It had a Clixon, I don't know how to pronounce it, thermostat, and that's when I was able to find the replacements brand new from this place that was formerly in California, called S&S Electronics. So first thing is first, we need to get this thermostat off, and it looks like all the leads leading to that are good, so I don't see a reason to not use it. There is some clear tape on this one that we'll need to get out of the way. Easy enough, we just cut it off. Yeah, I'm gonna go get a needle those pliers there. And first thing is first, I'm gonna take this positive lead off. You know what? This battery actually looks halfway decent otherwise. I don't quite know where the corrosion's coming from out of that, but who knows? There might be carnage in the middle. And we'll bend. Try not to bend the thermostat. And we're just about off. Yeah, my camera's not cooperating tonight. This might be the second worst video ever. Yeah, this is not going the way I intended it to go at all. Yeah, so I can get underneath here now and really tiny flatheads would be a benefit right around now, but I'm not going to get one, so we got it mostly off. This little section right here, thermostat off, and this is a nickel cadmium battery, so you can throw it in regular garbage if you so choose. There are places I believe that do recycle them, but let's see what is behind door number 1. Let's see how bad the carnage is. And oh yeah, there's some carnage in between there. So yeah, this battery was shot just like the others, so we'll throw that out. Let's prepare our new battery, which looks very similar. I'm going to take the tape off and the negative lead because we will not need that. If you go the means of utility knife like I did, just don't gouge in too far. So let's say tape is off. And unfortunately I'm nearly the 10-minute mark already, which I was hoping to make this a faster video, but that's life. A lot of trouble getting this tape off. So whatever onlybatteries.com used, he used a good tape. You just got to get enough off so you can get to the exposed leads here. That's the end game. And cloth electrical tape, you got to go too. And you will cut this off because the thermostat will be too long otherwise, and you will cause some carnage. So let's get rid of this. Pretty much the same way you took off the thermostat on the old battery. That one came off a lot easier. And this one, I'm actually just going to bend this back and forth until it breaks off. And it should come right off. There we go. So I'm not going to use that wire, but there we are. We got our battery mostly prepared. Next thing is we have to test that thermostat to make sure it is good. Very simple to do. Don't have a multimeter handy. I can tell. Alright, with the magic of video editing, a multimeter is going to magically appear. See? Magically appeared. So, very simple. You put one lead here, and you'll put your other lead. Now you got to put it on the negative terminal somehow, unless we can expose an end here. There we go. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit interesting, but it is very possible to do. So we put one end around here. This is all the same lead, so it shouldn't be a problem. And we got continuity. So that thermostat is good. Now, if you really want to be thorough, you can heat that thing up to above 70 degrees Celsius. Use a heat gun could probably do it. I know I made a tutorial about it at one point. But if you really wanted to be thorough, you can test it that way. But now we have a problem that we got to straighten these leads out because they kind of do look sus. And you can do too is that you could have penned some nickel strip onto this and you'd be just fine. But I don't think anything crazy like that's going to be required. So what I'm going to do next, I know I'm off camera, but I am going to do what the original company did and tape this on. They just used Scotch tape. They didn't do anything crazy. Or some kind of... Oh, even better. Hold on. I got the better tape for this thing. Scotch tape. This stuff. This stuff is made to take extreme heat. There's a blue variant that I'm told works even better than this. You don't need much. You just need it to stick. So we're going just to put that on like so. And it'll hold her in place. I know I'm off camera again. I know. Shame on me. Got her nice and tight. And it'll definitely stay there now. So this is where you have one of two options. And another alternative option would be to get some nickel strip and just solder onto the nickel strip. Both ways work, just one requires a little bit more patience than the other, I think. But we're going to try our hand at spot welding this. I don't have a whole lot of room to work with the way that tore off, but oh well. It is also helpful to have a way to stand that battery up. Lucky for us, the center of this solder wheel will do the trick just fine. So let's get that in there. There you go. And then this is where a spot welder comes into play. I put it at half capacity because these are kind of thin. And one word of note here, do not hit those holes or you are going to have quite a fireworks display if you do. And I even turn it up a couple notches. There we go. All right, so that should be in. And I don't think it's going to go anywhere. So you could always put a little bead of solder on there if you wanted to. So you're pretty much done with the negative side. Now we have to attach the positive side, and there are one or two ways we could do that. Traditionally, when I make the new ones, I just solder onto this nickel strip. But since we already do have functional nickel strip, I might just... yeah, I don't know what I'm going to quite do here yet. We could do nickel strip on top of nickel strip. That would work perfectly fine. And that might be just what I end up doing here. I think I have it turned up 2/3 of the way now. This one you have even less room to work with, and I probably should have taken that whole entire section off, but well, what are you gonna do? So there we go. We are basically attached now. And that's all there is to it, basically. Your last step at this point, and I probably should have put that down a little bit further, but I can compare the old one real quick. Yeah, so this one's a little bit different because it looks like the original had a little bit more working room on that front, but oh well. We'll just bend that part over and we'll be fine. I think. Yeah. We're halfway there to making this the second worst video on YouTube ever. Maybe not a bad idea to clean this up a little bit, but everything seems like it's holding up, so I'm not worried about it. And there you go. The only thing left to do now to complete your successful battery rebuild is to get some heat shrink and a heat gun like so. You don't need much, you just need something that works. And I believe the heat shrink you need 30mm will work, although it is a little bit more difficult to melt 30mm. I bring up 30mm because that's what you use to insulate a lithium ion cell. Readily available. If you go to 23s or the 20s or smaller, the bad news is, well, unless you're in China, you have to get them from China. And it's just going to take a little bit longer. So, very quickly, we'll hunt down some of my 23mm heat shrink. Like so. I probably should have did all this in the beginning, but what are you going to do? And this part does take some practice. You do have to measure it fairly accurately, otherwise it's not going to look perfect. I think that's about right. The closer you can get the heat shrink to the correct size, the nicer your heat shrink is going to look. Right, so I'm just trying to open it at this point. It's being a little bit of a bear, but there we go. Slide her in. And yeah, I actually think I made this one too long, but that's all right. Always cut it off. Yeah, as you can tell, I have quite a bit left, so I'm going to cut. I can't exactly tell, but it looks like it ends right around where my thumbnail is, so I'll probably take half of that length off. And if you do, that's okay. Just slide this back out if possible. That's so possible. There we go. Cut that much off. This stuff is cheap. I probably could have used a little bit, could have cut out probably a little bit less. So it's kind of cutting it close, but the original one did not have those leads entirely covered either, so I don't feel bad about it. And now, here comes the heater. And you want to work at the ends first, and then work your way up. Don't get it too hot. Batteries don't like to be heated up. And there you have it. Fortunately, mine poked through a little bit, but if you're really worried about these ends being unprotected, You could easily put some liquid electrical tape at the end of it, or cloth tape, or whatever you want to do, but I don't think it's necessary. It's not touching anything else in the laptop, and it never will. So, if you want to check your work at this point, get a volt, our multimeter back out, and we'll put it to some kind of volts. Mine defaults to microvolts for some reason. Yeah, let's just give her the old measurement and let's see what we got. And, ew, well, it's going to be a whole lot of zero if we can't get it to stand. Oh, come on. And we have 2.94 volts. Now, do bear in mind, that's a little bit under what it's supposed to be, so it's a 4.8 volt battery. If you buy them from that shop up in Canada, they will be undercharged. That's something I just found out, whatever. I found it out almost right away. But it is something that is a known issue with these, and all you got to do, you slide in your Compaq LTE 5000, and it'll charge the moment it's plugged in. So that's not a big deal if you run into that situation. So I may just dab this up with liquid electrical tape just to patch up these ends and just make it look even nicer. Definitely not a requirement, but we'll do the best we can. So that's it for this build. This one's going to go back to Canada. Oddly enough, this is a customer rebuild, and it came from Canada. So I'm going to label it up, get it sealed. If you have any questions or comments or constructive criticism, as always, feel free to leave them in the comments section. As always, thank you for watching.